Hello and welcome again to the Marketing Study Guide. In this video, I'm going to have a look at segmentation basis, but this time looking at hybrid or a combination approach, which is often a little bit more effective than a single approach to segments. My name is Jeff and I'm a long-term marketing lecturer and practitioner. Okay, so the top 5 you're probably familiar with: geographic, demographic, psychographic, behavioral, and benefits sought. And this video, I'm going to have a look at hybrid or combining some of the above. Please note I have videos on each of these other segmentation bases if you want to check them out. Very firstly, I just want to start with what we're trying to do with market segmentation, the overall process. Now let's assume this is our overall market here. And what we're trying to do is break that down into related groups of consumers that have something in common for us in terms of marketing or their consumer behavior. So there's a whole bunch of ways, hundreds of plus ways we can segment a market. There's some common approaches there. What they buy, what are their needs, their characteristics, their demographics, etc. And what we're trying to do is two things. One is look for commonalities. Now, consumers will never be identical. You're never going to have two consumers who buy exactly the same thing and respond exactly the same way, but they will have similar patterns and similar behaviors. So what we're trying to do is grab a group of consumers and say, they've got something in common that is relevant for us and how we are as marketers. So they have common behaviors or actions, and they're also distinct. So this group acts differently to this group, or thinks differently to this group, or have different characteristics. So we've got to make sure it's clear cut what the differences are, yet the groups themselves are quite similar. And our goal is to firstly pick one of those or more of those to be our target markets and go, okay, now they're our target market. What we want to do is develop a strategy, a marketing mix that is going to allow us to be far more effective in the marketplace. And that is the whole goal of market segmentation. We gather information along the way about the consumers and how they work and how they think, but we want to build a more successful business by having a closer connection to a group of these consumers where we have insight and knowledge to what they want, and we're able to deliver that better than our competitors. Okay, so let's have a look at the concept of hybrid segmentation. It's simply combining different approaches. So I've got an example here. It doesn't have to be those three, but we use demographic information, behavioral information, how they respond as consumers in the marketplace, and then psychographic, which is obviously lifestyles and activities and interests, etc. And we use that in combination to construct our market segments. So obviously it's a lot more work than just using a single base. Okay, let's have a look at the advantages of hybrid segmentation. First thing is it's clearly going to be more powerful. We have a lot more information coming in. In this case, we have a demographic which describes characteristics about their age or income or occupation. We have behavioral, which says, hey, they're brand loyal, or they like shop around on price, or they're influenced by deals, or they're influenced by salespeople, etc. So we know how they work as consumers, and then we bring in lifestyle factors of how they spend their time, what they're doing when they're not working, or even if they work at all, what are their attitudes to certain things, what's their views on life, etc. So very rich. Okay, so we've got that combination of action, motivation, and be able to describe them quite clearly. And that gives us, from a marketing perspective, what we call a very detailed segment profile. We have a lot of information about our target market, and we can develop brand personas, which is a representative, a made-up representative of the target market, and go, hey, that's our ideal customer. That's who we're after. This is how they think. This is how they react. This is what they want. And by doing that and working with that, we will clearly improve our marketing performance. The downsides of this is because we're using so many variables, and it could be multiple of them, we're going to create more market segments. So there's a couple of ways around this, but it becomes more of a challenge to go, yeah, we have, let's say 25 segments. We can't work with 25 segments, so it's not usable. And the second point there is we might need to combine them. So, okay, that's a segment, but is not that different. It's similar to this one, and we have to then redo this. So the segmentation process itself, the analytical stuff, and the thinking part and the logic behind it is a lot more effort. Okay, because we end up with either markets that are too small, too defined, or just not workable. And the third point there is the analytical time, cost, and effort. So a lot of companies, particularly small to medium companies, it's probably not worth the crunching through and the thinking about it. If you're a large company, obviously you're going to have marketing analysts and data analysts and greater ability to do this. So, and then you'll have a greater success in the marketplace because of that knowledge. So that's the last point there. You need access to the data and you need the ability to work with that data. So it becomes an option for larger firms. But if smaller firms can do this, it is a more effective way of segmenting markets. So that's it. Please check out the other videos on the other segmentation bases, as well as the other videos on the segmentation, targeting, and positioning available on YouTube.